Thank you for the plan, Mama. It's a resistance game, electrical density resistance between compression and expansion of your energy. And that really is your heart, which is your vortex. You want that to expand wide open. So you're not experiencing any resistance to experience what love is. That's what you have to break. So there's going to be more resistance on their side to do that naturally because they don't want to experience that much light, which is the purity of that light. Okay, they live in fear of that. Believe it or not. That's what happens as a result of fragments of souls that go dark. That's like falling glass that went dark. So there's something in that, right? So it doesn't have a love connection anymore. They got fractured. So they make perfect assassins naturally because they can kill, follow the orders. So those are codes. Those are transmission codes to do that. If your consciousness, your soul does not know the difference between what's right and what's wrong, you're fucked already. It means you don't know what love is. And if you don't know what love is, you lost your connection to that. So I'm the connection to that. Everyone that's here, it represents in spirit, what is living spirit that is in that light is why all that light's here. Because it's a more powerful energy to bring in anywhere, wherever there's a fallen realm. It's like, you could see it through the military lens of No One Left Behind, which is no soul left behind. Okay? So you realize, because I did, which was why it was a blessing to experience somebody that wrote this on the portal. And I shared it with a couple of the people that I know that live in the light that are what love is. So everything that we do with our energy is to raise it up, get it up, to experience more light. That's the objective. That's the overall objective. Otherwise, you lose what it is that you are that is in that light. Now, the more resistance that you lose or compression that you experience, now you're experiencing the resistance. And that resistance is in you. So you've got to raise it up. So that's what I've been trying to do since I was a little kid. Raise it up, Mom. Right? So now it's like an air compressor that's going up and down. Which is like, what's the most powerful engine? Drive motor to accelerate a universe that is in love with itself. So it's like, I'm already there. So if you're already there, and I've known this because I've experienced this through my own heart and soul, there is a universe that is already there that is in love with itself, which means everybody that is in that universe is not ever experiencing any harm being done to that, because that is the biggest driving force that's taking place right now, is those that are on that engine. So that's what I measure ultimately, is whether you're part of that engine. And I can tell whether you're part of that engine by experiencing how much love you have in your heart. That's what it is. That's the measurement. How pure is that energy that's in your heart? That is what love is. So when you know that you experience forever and always, that's because you're experiencing forever and always in your own heart, because that's the purity of the light that you have to share with others, because it's true, because it's real, and so it's free. So it's naturally giving energy as the most powerful engine to drive creation. There isn't a more powerful energy. So when you grabbed onto that engine, you're part of that engine. That's your magnet. That's a powerful mirror. That's a real living star. So they don't run power systems like that, that are natural and free, because the spirit that is in that light is free. So now all the spirits are free that are in that light. Then none of those spirits are experiencing anything less than what they already are, which is spirits that are in purified light with other spirits that are in purified light. That's the greatest accelerator. So those spirits are like harmonizing. This is how the universe, Herman is right about the universe is getting its act together. Terence McKenna knew that. It's getting its act together. It realizes everything that doesn't serve the best units of the whole pie. as a result of wanting to feed on something else. That's ending, which means we're ending Star Wars forever. That's the biggest engine that's going right now. So you're either on that engine or you're not on that engine. And if you are, then you know what engine you're on because we can feel you, which is how much love you have in your heart for everything that's alive and living in creation. So you don't lose any part of what you are by the loss you experience in a place like this. So that's a fallen system. That's absolutely right. So in order to go from the underlying causality of all of it to for the amount of units of energy that are aware of themselves, that don't want to experience it anymore, is growing at a faster speed than there is that don't. So that ultimately means a mind wipe, a big ass one. So that's why when I saw what was put up by Adam 14 about the eraser of a universe, I remember experiencing that on this island a few years ago. And that somehow or other I was voicing that not to do it yet. But it works differently because it's like your engine is already so powerful because you're running on so much love that you normally don't ever experience that anyway. Okay? That's not the universe that we live in. That's the one they live in. That's not the one we live in, because the one they live in is self-destructive. So you know they're going in the opposite direction. So that's a resistance game as a result of fractures because of wars. So when enough of the universe that is accelerating at a higher rate of speed being what love is, that means that all those units of energy have come together very fast, so that as that accelerates, there isn't going to be any memory of any war in anybody's mind and spirit, which means everything that is alive and living in spirit is experiencing what love is in that entire universe, which means that's like a complete extinguishment of that. Now that universe is running hotter, okay? And so now you need more water. So it's not like you don't have to manage and tune in to the acceleration of those waves. So it's like catch the waves, go with the flow. That was, for those of us that grew up during that period, there were certain like words that like catchphrase. It's like, yeah, we got the train. We got the right train. We're on the right train. The right train is here. So I call this, because the way they use military terms in the English language, is that the real cavalry showed up. So you never lose sight of that, because that's what you are. You're in that energy formation that showed up here. You're there and here. That's the truth of it. That's why I realized that if it all just released itself just through me, what I know was there through my pipe, it would just fry this place because of how much energy is represented by that. So, yeah. And so I identify with that when I have experiences like that, of feeling that way with my energy and my heart that way. That's why when I just went out to the grass and smoked the DH9 receptor, and then just began working with the sun and breathing with the sun, and then putting my hands and my bare feet into that rock, and then putting my feelings into that rock. So this was like an energetic exercise where I got up and I thought, holy fuck. Wow. I mean, it's like being drunk in the universe. So, and that would be, depending on who you are, this particular rock, the largest shield volcano, is a place to do that. It's funny how experiences work, and then they just validate themselves naturally when it comes to energy. So, but I had to leave this island to go to the island of Oahu to have an operation. So I had to go see what's considered in their mind a world-class specialist surgeon to fix a 5-inch hole in my abdominal wall. So I've been on this island for a while, for almost a year before I was even going to go do that. But this is what I experienced because of what you observe. When you pull into this energy on this rock, on the big island, with active volcanic activity, and then you go to Oahu, which doesn't have very much, and you realize that's sort of Los Angeles on a Hawaiian island, which is normally a powerhouse. So you realize what's there that drove it down. And I know that because I've been there when it was like, wow. nirvana. I've been on the island of Kauai when it was absolute nirvana. Okay, so you know that you're plugged into a goddess flower shop. So this is like being on another planet. If you experience it that way, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's our mirrors, right? What's in our mirror is what we experience in our mirror with the energy that we are using to experience it with. If you're experiencing it with what love is, you're the engine that's making that happen. You're the prime engine. That's why this battle, you see it in their little coatings, how they come back with something like you see this guy who's the coach of University of Colorado, Deion Sanders. They call him prime. See, that's negative prime. That's not positive prime. Okay, that's not the primal sound field. Everything they do is on the negative side, counter space. Okay, so it's like they're the flip, the reversal. They're inverted. See, just like I use the football team example. All those numbers, I put this stuff into their little sports shows. They call them number 11 from heaven. Okay, they need to put a minus 1111. Okay, and not use the word heaven. Use the word underworld. Shadow beings. Evil stuff. They hop around and use technology because it's the only way they can keep themselves going. So they took the wrong path, and you know that because they don't experience what love is. And they're a mirror. That's a different mirror, isn't it? That's right. They run different mirrors. They're dark mirrors. That's like a shadow, a fracture that broke. That's called lost in space. Lost in space. Where's home base? So I knew home base when I came out of my mama's womb. I was in my heart and soul, and never forget that. That's your soul running the equipment, led by spirit, your spirit. So the spirit is based on how much fire is in that light, which is the purity of your light, which is purity of your heart, and how much love you know that you have. So you know it's eternal. So it's forever and always. That's my signature. That in that language, that's what I say. It could be, sometimes I'd just be a 4, like a number 4, forever all. That's a positive number. Their numbers are negative, minus. That's reverse flow. So that all their programming was reverse. Reverse fire letters. See, so that those are vampires and bigger vampires. As a result of, that's what they are. It's the easiest way to explain it. In other words, they need your energy. Without us, they don't exist. So now one has to be moving at a higher rate of acceleration, which is the vampire chasing the artist. So you got to keep burning it up as you go to burn off anything that's feeding on you. So the easiest way to become what that is be the purest fire and the purest of light. And so now once you slam that door, you can become an oversoul. Now you're a mated chip. That means you've surrendered all your energy to serve. That's what a real God and a real goddess is. That's why it was. I've never met Dante Sartori, who calls himself a Christus from Jupiter. I can't validate that. I've never met this being because of the way that the war of deception works between what you can look like and who you really are. Your energy, what you do with your energy. What do you do with your energy? What is the intent of your energy? Mine is always to give as much love as I possibly can, as fast as I can, with as much fire as I can. And this island really gives that to you. Mama gives that to you here. Bigger than shit. She gave me a taste of, wow, I'm plugged into the universe. So that's what you gravitate to. So you realize you work for the power company of what grows the universe. You're that engine. You're with that engine. You grab the same engine. So you're just like another engine, but it's oneness. You become one with everything that love is giving love to. So in other words, that is what the law is, because you reach that point in spiritual development and to become what that is. That's what it has. It's a becoming. You chose to become what that is. That's your free will to do that, right? That's what it means to be a free spirit. because now you're free. And the license to be free is what love is. That's what frees you. And they know that. It frees you from all control. Now you're not trying to control anything. So you don't experience a world of control, because what you do experience is what love is. So you're experiencing love everywhere you go with everything else. That's what love is. They created it. So now you're with the love engine. So when you're with the love engine, you're tied on. That means you got an e-ticket, as they say at Disneyland in the 1950s, for home base, which is the source from which all love comes. That's the hottest engine. It has to be, obviously. So when you're part of that engine, you're growing faster than anything. That's the artist in you and the musician and original sound. I mean, you're free. You're free because nothing that you do as an artist is going to be anything less than what love is. And either is another artist. So that's the accelerator that's coming together in an artistic, musical way to create something else that is so beautiful. It's never been experienced before. That engine's going to grow so hot because it's like being connected that way, where there's just a oneness that you feel that way, but you're free. The amount of energy that you're experiencing to experience that in spirit, which is in that light, is the most powerful engine that is going to recreate. It's like recreating itself, which is to uncreate something that you experienced in the past that doesn't serve the universe of the engine that's going in that direction. So when I experienced that by somebody putting that up, and I look back at the sun and go, he got the memo, mama. So that means he's with that group, those engines that are doing that. So those are the most powerful accelerators in spirit to make change, to get rid of it. It's, if it's not what love is, then what the hell is it? Why is it love and service to others? You know, when one starts feeding on the other, that you realize what happens. So it's like, you mean to tell me there's not enough energy for you? Well, that's a lie. It's not like the universe is ever going to run out of what love is, because it's an eternal engine. It's by the choices and the decisions that people make that end up fracturing their mirror and not recovering the glass, so to speak. It went dark and you couldn't recover that. And the more that you keep losing those, which is really a virus, the darker your mirror becomes, the less light you're experiencing, the greater resistance you have to experiencing that as a result of all those fractures. Now you're in the big ass resistant mode. So now more light, which doesn't have any resistance at all to experience what love is now experiencing your resistance as a result of it. So the less resistance is coming in by more light, which is what love is, what happens is that frees up those that are resisting. So this is a game of resistance between the two, like a resistor. Okay. RE, like going backwards. Resist, go backwards, toward. Go in reverse. There's nothing new happening here. These are all simulations. Like, it's just like if you went down to buy something at Microsoft and say, this is a flight simulator, right? That already happened. Whatever mind was using energy of the idea or concept of what was going to be an end user product, you experience it way after the fact. So that means you're experiencing something that already happened. So that's time dependent. So imagine no memory. You're not time dependent because you're experiencing love through your heart. That's the energy you run on. That's the energy you're using to create a different experience. Meaning that your energy is not held captive by anything, anywhere that you go, because you're free to create as a co-creator with the grand creator. That's ultimate wisdom. When you have become what love is, that's the ultimate wisdom. The ultimate wisdom is do no harm, because otherwise we do harm to ourselves. That's wisdom. That's the higher intelligence that was driven by an engine that is that creative. that drives the higher intelligence because that's what it wants to be. We want to be the highest intelligence that will protect what it is that we create. So love is the engine in which it just happens naturally because the way the energy works as the biggest, fastest accelerator. That's why they're scared at the bejesus of that much energy. That's like the biggest frying pan, basically. So when you already know how to light yourself on fire, when you know you were born on fire, then it's the spirit of the fire that's purifying the light, and naturally that purifies the water. It purifies everything. It purifies everything, so everything that is there is experiencing what love is. Those are the realms we create and live in. My heart and soul never left Eden. That's the truth of it. It is beautiful to live through your own love stories and realize that love is the most powerful magic. It's what frees you. And that's what scares the hell out of them, because now they can't control you. That's right. That's exactly right. And that is the genius of how the universe works. So they gotta fuck with everybody's minds to get them to believe otherwise. And the method they use is to traumatize people, using their technologies, doing experiments, doing unlawful breeding programs that result up in this kind of stuff. So at some point in time, you want to eliminate those things that do not serve what love is, because love is the law. And so those are forbidden crimes, because now we experience the end user product of their product. So that means they not only don't know what they're doing, but they're not on the same engine we are. So we already know what happens to them. Oppenheimer is a modern model that I use. We have been destroyer of water worlds. That's right. So they're destroying what we create. That's right. We're the ones that create it. They're the ones that destroy it. Look around you. Look what they do to this place. They stuck a Nazi jackboot down everybody's neck. That's what they did. So, all you have to do is go back to Nazi Germany. Just in the last 70 years that I've been alive, even though it happened before that by their dating system, what they did to the German people. So this is a force of energy that's doing this. So you realize you got a Wizard of Oz behind the scene here, because that's how they work. They don't come out and show themselves like a tribal war chief does. They live in secret compartments, and they hide because they know that. Because essentially what it is they operate on a criminal mind. Their mind's corrupted. Their energy is corrupted. It's like this, you can't repair this. It's the energy that it is. Unless it's restored, if you will, where it experiences the purest of love, which is really the honest engine. So it will experience, it's like a recycle bin, but they're not. The way I describe it is the way I did with Misha, which was to tell her that no matter what happens to you, what it is that I am, you will ultimately experience. Which means there's not any separation between what you are and what I am, because you're in my universe. The universe I live in, which is the one that I believe in, which is the one that I know that I'm in, is what love is. So you are what that is, because I've seen an image of you experiencing the same energy that I am, I'm experiencing in you. Okay, so that's a mirror that I'm seeing of you doing that back. What that ultimately means is that that love that I'm giving her, which was as pure as it gets because it's really eternal fire, okay, she has experienced that. So she's got a bond with that somewhere, okay, that she has, that to this day, I'm sure she probably still remembers. But once you've made that energetic cord with that, you don't want to lose that energetic cord because that's the one that's eternal through the pipe that you did that with that girl. Whatever's left of her, whatever's left of her soul and her spirit. So now you're making a measurement of recovery, of her recovery. See? So I have experience with her because of the amount of the way that she expresses herself to me, as if you're like real gods and goddesses, and they know that. Okay, because they know that when they're in your presence, they know what it's like to be in the presence of real love energy, boy or girl, right? So, in other words, I'm just in a male avatar, but I'm androgynous, so I'm a feminine boy in that regard because I'm a flower, because I joined with a flower to be with the flower forever, and that's the eternal blessing that you get out of that. So now you're both. That's a creation engine that's on fire, and so you've decided to surrender. That's what it is. You got to get on your hands and your knees to yourself, and remember from whence you came. That's what it is. So you're recovering your heart, which is recover your light, which is recover your spirit. Now you remember who you are. Now you realize, hey, I just pushed a demon out of me. That's how you become more powerful in spirit. That on the spiritual side of things, that's the invisible landscape. What you're allowing yourself to be influenced by, and it's easy to fall into a consciousness trap, and the next thing you do, you're lost. And when you can really experience believing that you have actually like become what that is, but you still know that no, that's not what I really am. So there's still some of you left to know. So you got to build your power back up. That's what you got to do. So now you're in recovery rate. What you're doing is you're recovering your own heart through what you're choosing not to do anymore. And that's the way it is. That was some good dope, as we say. Do OP. DOPE. Physical education with a plant. I probably ought to get off this phone, huh? Anyway, you all have a beautiful day. The sun is out. What a powerful charge. Can you tell? Okay. Bye.